first ever Vidcast of CariniCast. I'm Lisha Bhattacharya, your announcer, and why don't we first introduce ourselves?
I'm Isaac, I'm today's host.
Hi, I'm Johnny, I'm today's co-host.
Hi, I'm Aisha. I'm going to be interviewing Sylvia Esposito from the Career Office here at AUR.
And I'm Kyla. I am doing reviews.
I'm Dawson. I'm taking care of the news.
Hey, I'm Tatenda, and I'll be doing AUR Lab today.
I'm Gabriel, and I will be reviewing the top 5 places to look for a job after graduation.
So today our podcast is going to be on life after college. So what are your thoughts, Isaac?
Life after college.
Terrifying.
Yeah, it is terrifying for most students, yeah.
I mean, I know you have some plans.
Yeah, Johnny and I talked about this earlier. For me personally, I am South Korean, so there is such thing as mandatory military service. So after university, I have a little around a year, and then I have to go into the military. Besides that, I don't have very many plans.
Yeah,
Future.
I really have none, and I'm sort of terrified about thinking of graduating at this point. You know, I'm only a freshman, so even just like looking for internships this summer has stressed me out. So I can't imagine.
I feel you.
Yeah, jobs are like
Well, the only way,
you're older.
the only way you're gonna find an internship as a freshman is you have to look for your connections, because everyone's looking for the juniors and seniors to fill those spots. So if you really want that spot, you're gonna have to find somebody you know.
Yeah, that's really
True.
nice.
Because that's what I did this past
Yeah, don't
summer.
stress about it too much.
Thank you.
Oh wow, thanks. Really comforting me.
I mean, sorry about that.
Sylvia's here to help you.
Sylvia's here to help you.
Yeah, and I did. I actually found a little bit more information about like degrees and stuff, like the highest in demand degrees out of college. Does anyone want to just take a guess of what the first one is? Like,
Engineering.
it is
Communications.
computer science. Yeah, yeah, Gabe got it. And then engineering is number 2 to Tenda, and then business, then communications, and then arts and liberal arts is in 5th place.
Nice.
We have hope.
Yeah, but anyway.
But don't stress too much, Johnny, you know?
Yeah, I won't. And you know, how about we just start off with getting some advice about the internships? Aisha, let's just jump right into your interview.
Definitely. So, Sylvia, can you tell us a little bit more about your job and background here at AUR first?
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
I started working at AUR in 2006 when I was teaching writing courses, and I taught writing for 8 years. And then I went back to Boston for 3 years. And my boss from the writing department said, you know, you'd be really great running the career and internship office because you always loved mentoring students. And I have a background in psychology as well. My first degree was in psychology. So she said, you should apply. I applied, had a Skype interview, and here I am. So this is my second year now
Really?
in the career development and internship office, and I love it.
Awesome. Yeah. So, now that you mentioned it, can you tell us what you did for undergrad and how you decided to go to like grad school and like literally life after college?
Absolutely. I was majoring in psychology and I had to take statistics, and
Oh,
I
God.
thought, oh my God, the only way I'll get through that is take it in the
Yeah.
summertime.
That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing in the summer. Yeah.
So I was volunteering at a psychiatric hospital that was nearby
Oh, wow.
because I wanted to get experience in that since I was majoring in psychology. And I loved it, and it was a good match, and they hired me when I graduated. They offered me a full-time job when I graduated. So it was sort of, I guess, like doing an internship in the summertime. I got to know an organization, they got to know me. Also, it's a teaching hospital, so that was really stimulating for me because I got to go to a lot of academic conferences as well. After working in that hospital for 7 years or so, as much as I loved it, I thought, I don't know that I want to be working with these kinds of problems my whole life. It was psychotic disorders, so it was really serious problems.
Yeah.
And I really always had a passion for education as well, and writing. I minored in writing. So I got a master's in education from Harvard University.
Oh wow.
And
Congratulations.
that's
amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. And actually, I wanted to say to everybody that what got me in there more than my grades were my letters of recommendation from work. Actually, so
nice.
It's all about
Yes,
the connections.
Yes. And then also because I grew up in Rome, but I was in Boston, I wanted to come back to Rome. So I came back to Rome and worked for the Rhode Island School of Design here in Rome. They have a very small European honors program. And I was the program coordinator, which is sort of a glorified Girl Friday position. But I learned a lot. I learned a lot about administration, and I did that for about 8 years, but then I decided, no, I think I've had enough of this, and I went and got a master's in the UK in creative writing, because I always wanted to do that. Then I came back, I'd taken a leave of absence, so I didn't burn any bridges. For those of you who know Rome, it's very hard to find a job here. But when I came back, I thought, I'm really done here. I love my boss, I love the job. I mean, I had loved the job. I think I'd outgrown it at that point. And so I left and I got a teaching job here at AUR, and that's how I ended up here. And actually, there are a lot of parallels between creative writing and the world of work as well. For example, I don't know if those of you that have taken creative writing, you sometimes have to think about a conflict crisis resolution formula when you're writing a plot. And in the work world too, when you have an interview, people will always ask you about the SAR, the situation, action, result. For example, they'll ask you to describe a situation that you came across in work. How did you resolve it?
Right.
It's probably a long-winded answer.
Yeah. I always get that question in an interview, and I'm like, I always get that in an interview, and I'm like, should I just make something up?
The answer is no. This is also my big advice here is always be truthful. Do not ever lie. Ever. Don't lie or exaggerate because you will lose credibility.
Okay.
So do not, it's not worth it.
Okay, yeah. So I guess, my next question would be, so did you have any internships or any experience as you were going through college, and how did that help you in the future, I guess?
Actually, I did have 2 internships when I was at Harvard, and I didn't care for either of them, actually. But they did allow me to understand what I'm good at and what I'm not good at, because one of them was curating an exhibit at an art school, and I realized that I'm not great with organization, which you probably don't need to hear in terms of the office, but that's what I do. Fortunately, I have a wonderful student assistant, Derek, who I'm very lucky to have. And so I realized that I have more of a creative process way of approaching things. In fact, I told Derek when I hired him, I said, you need to know I'm not a linear person in a linear way. So I realized I really didn't enjoy that sort of thing. And then I also had an internship in a museum.
Oh, nice.
Yes, well, yeah, it was, but at that point, I think maybe at that point in my life, I wasn't that stimulated by that sort of work, because again, it had a lot to do with organization. But when I realized what I really enjoyed was doing tours with children. And I've done a lot of work with children and art too in my spare time as a volunteer.
Okay, yeah. So I guess I wanted to ask, so in your job, I'm guessing you get a lot of like anxious students, especially now, the millennial era and whatever, because they're stressing out about getting a job and like getting an internship or whatever they want to do. So how do you, like, I guess, give us a little gist of how you go about that, and like how do you help the student, I guess?
Well, my first temptation is to say, don't panic, it all works out.
Okay.
But easier said than done, because I know I've been there, it's not easy. But I think what really makes people afraid oftentimes is that they think they're going to make a mistake. I think that's what people say, I'm at this huge crossroads, what if I make a mistake? I think, it depends on how you approach that, because you can also look at it in a way that means you never make a mistake, that everything teaches you something.
Yeah.
So nothing really is a mistake. I mean, maybe there are a few things in life that could be mistakes, but many actually aren't. And they give you other information that's really precious. Yeah. And also to be open. I think another thing is really to be very open to anything. I mean, people get locked into the ideas of what they've studied and they have to do that. Mm-hmm. And really, sometimes one thing leads to another. You never know. This is another anecdote I like to tell is I went to a reading once at a bookstore on a rainy night. I was the only one who showed up. It was a poetry anthology. Wow. And I started chatting with the professor, and he said, "Oh, you're bilingual? Oh, I need a translator. Oh, and you're good at poetry? Oh my gosh." And next thing you know, that led to a freelance job in translating poetry for many years, which was very satisfying, but it was really kind of one of those chance encounters. And it was just chance, so really be open to things and put yourselves out there.
Yeah, definitely. Literally yesterday, everybody's gonna see this, but I don't usually cry, and yesterday I called my mom sobbing. I was stressing out because, you know, I'm going to be a senior next year. And so I'm already thinking about, well, you guys know I'm from Puerto Rico. I don't want to go back home when I graduate. So I'm like very like strict with myself and my plans. So I'm like, I have to get an internship here and like I have to do this. And my mom is like, you need to chill the fuck out, really. she literally said like, just stop it, really. You're being so annoying right now. So I mean, yeah. So I guess what tips do you have for like all of us that were in college, rather it be like freshmen or like sophomore, junior year, people who are going to be graduating soon? What's your tips?
Okay, one thing is knowing what your transferable skills are. Definitely, we have a handout at the office here, identifying transferable skills, which is very useful. For example, people say, well, all I've done is babysat. Well, that's already a lot. That you could be preparing meals, you could be tutoring, and also you can call it providing childcare, not babysitting necessarily. So I know I've had students say, well, I can bullshit. I said, okay, well, there's elegant bullshit and there's cheap bullshit. So you can be discerning. Also, you want to have a very good resume. Derek has come up with one. We'd be happy to explain to you all. It's very humorous as well, very well done. And we have handouts in the office for that because also it shows that you've taken the time to see what the industry is asking for, what kind of a resume. Because if people just insist on doing whatever they want and say, well, I just want to write a paragraph, it shows that you also are not following directions in a sense. You know, you're not paying attention to the industry. Other tips are read. There's a wonderful book here, You Majored in What? It's very creative, that's why I like it. But it gives you a lot of exercises too into understanding your values and your skills. I get back to skills because really that's what people want. They want to know what your skills are. And to tend, I know you talked about engineering being a popular degree. You're right, because people say that engineers are very good problem solvers. So I think problem solving is the key here. You know, really, if you can solve problems, that's huge. And that crosses all majors, really. But also do your research, look at companies, you know, make use of the office. We have various internship sites, and we can direct you to other people that can find paths for you to follow elsewhere if it's not here in Rome.
Yeah, good. I have a question one last question, because I get this all the time at interviews. How do you answer the "what are your weaknesses" question? I hate that question so much, and I never know how to answer it. So can you give us tips on how to answer that?
Yes, a very popular one for that is, I'm a people pleaser. Because that means that you're always wanting to do a lot of work.
Yeah.
And that you're always happy to perform. So that's a very good one, I think. So you wouldn't want to say something like, I'm always late. So you can, at the same time, if you're not a people pleaser, obviously don't say that. I mean, you have to be truthful. But I think anything can be spun a different way.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's one thing. One last thing I want to say about this book, it's so interesting where they say, okay, so what does a psychology major do? They become a psychotherapist. No, a cartoonist. They have a whole list of majors of what the people actually end up doing.
Oh my God. That's
So, anyway, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, coming in, Sylvia.
I have
If you guys haven't gone to her office, it's great. It's on the top floor of the B building. Sylvia here helped me with my resume, and she really took it from high school level resume to university level. So yeah, thank you very much for coming on. We're gonna have to move on to our next bit, but.
And my last thing is tomorrow is the career fair in the student lounge, 12:30
yes.
to 2. Please come. Listen to all different professionals talking about what it's like to do what they do. Thank you and best of luck to all of you.
Thank you
Thank you so much, Sylvia.
All right, we're gonna move it on to the first review by Kyla. Kyla.
Hi, I'm here today to be reviewing grad schools. Fun topic. Who here is actually considering going to grad school after?
I don't know.
That's a fair amount of
Sort of like
people.
the thing to do now.
Yeah. Whoops. You're a freshman. You have plenty of time.
Yeah.
I know, except the way the film industry's going.
Yeah.
By the time I get out, then you need a master's degree if you want to write, which I want to do. So yeah,
Right.
definitely consideration.
Johnny, you already got the first step. Look at you. So I did look up the best grad schools in general, but I pinpointed 3 different topics that's more relatable to AUR majors, and that is business, law, and education. And we're gonna start it off with business. If you guys have any guesses what the top business schools are.
Harvard,
Babson College.
UPenn,
No.
maybe.
No, that one's like strict for business. I don't know.
Yeah,
Small.
it is, but
Yeah.
not for masters, I think.
Oh yeah.
That's true. Okay, so Harvard for sure is top number 1, but
Always.
it's also as of 2018, it is tied with University of Chicago, and then the third one is UPenn.
Nice.
Okay.
And then for the second group is best education, best university for education. Any guesses
Somewhere
for
in
that
China?
one? No, strictly U.S.
Oh, okay.
This school is strictly in U.S.
Okay, I have all respect for that.
I have no clue.
UCLA?
UCLA, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, number 1.
California.
Right,
Yeah.
spot on.
Thank you.
Second place?
UC Santa Barbara?
No.
You wish.
UC San Diego?
No, it's not a UC.
UC Davis?
It's not a UC.
It's just not a UC.
Is it a state
Yes,
school?
it's actually
Harvard.
Harvard. And the last one is University of Wisconsin-Madison.
Oh,
Oh.
interesting.
Surprisingly, it's like
Yeah.
shout out to the area, fellow Wisconsinians. Yeah. And then
That's a
the
word.
last school is best law school. The best law school. Best
I
graduate.
mean Harvard.
Harvard, yeah.
Of course.
Yale.
Number 3. That's number 3.
Stanford.
Oh,
Number
yeah.
2.
Nice.
Yale is number 1.
Yale's number 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh, Connecticut's up
A
there
girl
too.
can dream, but never.
yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Alexa's actually hopefully considering
Woo!
maybe Harvard Law
Yes.
School.
Oh my god,
Oh.
Alexa, how
If
smart
not,
are you?
now
You've
it's a
been
great
saying
school, Alexa. I'm just saying.
Good luck with that.
you must be
Yeah,
really, really
so-
smart.
You guys have any thoughts in general? Just like general ideas of how difficult and
I don't even want to
Is-
imagine.
first question is why do you guys want to go to grad school?
Well, okay, I want to go to grad school because right now, well, as I'm in college, I'm realizing that I might want to be a producer, like produce films, and that's kind of more of a business. And like producing films is it's like a whole a whole spectrum, which I'm not doing right now. And although I love my major, I don't really know anything about producing per se outside of my internships. But you know, I've only found one master's program that I like, and it's actually in UCLA. It's like a 2-year producers like program.
UCLA is a
It's
great
so
school.
good,
You should
and,
look
and
at Chapman too for.
Chapman's
Chapman's
Yeah.
really good
Yeah.
for production.
and
That's
the
an
thing is
Anaheim.
with
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
I've been to Chapman University. I have a friend who goes and she's
Yeah, I
doing a
do
similar
too.
thing and she loves it. Like,
that's amazing.
completely
Well, the
loves
thing
it.
is, at UCLA, they have like this thing where they mentor you with like the executives of like Warner Brothers and Disney, and of course that's a dream. Like,
Yeah,
Right, absolutely.
I have
Oh,
a friend
yeah.
studying at UCLA too, and if you want any information, like
Oh
he
my
can
God,
tell you
yes.
all about it because it's a really cool program. Like he's so creative and so like fun and cool, and they let him do just like all of his like own kind of things with like just them like mentoring, but not too much, and you're given a lot of leeway doing it. So a lot of fun.
yeah, that's great. But like again, like I love New York, so I'm also kind of like the one thing that's kind of holding me back is like, do I?
California's better.
Yes.
I will
You don't say that to
disagree
me,
with
Anna.
that.
Okay, but
East Coast.
West Coast, West
Oh,
Coast.
okay.
Look at NYU then, Tish.
Yeah, I know, but like
This is coming to
I
how
love
we're gonna pick
NYU,
Aisha's
but honestly,
master's
it's so
program.
expensive.
Yeah, $75,000
And I haven't
a
found
year.
a program that I'm like, oh my god, I'm in love. Like
That's
the
how I
hats off for
felt about
UCLA.
Tish too. Though,
Baby
yeah.
girl, Chapman is $60,000 a year. Just letting you know. Like,
Well, I know.
And UCLA is also $60,000 a year.
Well,
in
Tish,
state.
Tish,
Not yet. For us, it'd be
Tish,
$60,000.
no, Tish is 90,000 a year. I'm not kidding. Because I have a lot of friends who go to like NYU and Tish. Yeah, 90,000 a year. Like I'm like, no way.
Okay, so that's definitely
absolutely not.
a big factor to consider when looking at grad school is cost.
How much is Harvard? Did you look?
Very expensive.
Yeah.
I'm
A lot of
assuming
dollars.
Upwards of 60 or 70.
Oh,
Oh, that'd be, yeah.
Definitely.
I'm
Although, does
thinking
it
maybe
change for
even
grad
more.
school too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So grad school's even more
Grad school's
expensive.
more expensive?
Of course it is.
What the fuck? God.
Johnny, language.
Sorry.
Yeah. So Kyla, any last words that you have on grad school? What are your opinions on it? What are your personal?
My personal
Yeah.
opinions, I have no plans as of now to go to grad school. But like in the future, in terms of just wanting to change possibly interest and I want to focus on a certain interest, absolutely I'm open to it. But no. I'm very like, I want to try the entrepreneurial route afterwards and be like, can I make it? Struggle and we'll see how it goes.
Alright. Well, thank you, Kyla, for that review. Next, we're going to move on to Tatenda for AUR Life.
Yo, what's up, guys?
Hey.
How are you doing?
Great.
You guys know
Fantastic.
what's happening this week?
We have a career fair tomorrow.
Wow, that was a lot of things at once.
I was just about to say one at a time.
I'm sure Sylvia's glad to know that Spirit Day is competing heavily with Career Fair, so
Oh.
that's good. But we do have both of those. We've got open mic as well on Thursday. It was postponed from last week to this coming week. So please come. It's really great. You get to see a lot of creative people just showcase themselves. And I wanted to talk about careers. Well, not really careers, but jobs in AUR, since we're talking about life after AUR. But some people do some stuff right now. So I made a little video. Yeah, hope you guys enjoy it.
Hey, so I'm Tatenda /Chis/Chama/ shout out to my future baby mama. And speaking about the future, we're talking about careers and stuff, life after AUR. Well, just so happens that some people do have no lives, some sort of life in AUR, and while they're studying, they are working for AUR. And I'm one of those people too. So here's where I work, and what do I do? What do I do? I'm a lab assistant. What does that mean? What does it mean? What is the meaning of life? See, now that's the real question. What is the meaning of life? What else do I do? Oh God. Help students out when they need it. And make sure no one runs away with an iMac, because apparently people do that kind of thing. That's me. But let's hear from all the other guys. Like, what do they do?
My name's Cameron Penrod.
I'm Derek Seabrian.
My name is Julia Spina.
I am the Italian Department Student Assistant.
I'm a student assistant at the Career Development and Internship Office.
I'm a student assistant for the reception.
I print exams for Professor Portolano. I make flyers for lectures.
I help people with their resumes and cover letters for whomever that comes up to the office. I also organize the portfolios up there and other information onto Excel sheets.
So basically, I log packages in the mails that come in for staff, faculty, and students. So I send notifications out when you get mail after I register it. I receive phone calls and I direct all phone calls to the necessary person. I help the president's chief of staff with any tasks she may need.
And I was just fired for shooting footage of myself out of focus. So you need to understand that it was a self-portrait. It was artistic. It was to show that there were no clear lines. It's all blurry. It's all blurry. But I will not be part of your system. I will not. I refuse. You understand me? I will not be part of your system. I will not be tamed.
Were you?
Oh no, I still have a job.
And the Oscar goes to.
Do you know what jobs are open or how people can find jobs on campus if they want them?
Well, what normally happens is they will send out, admissions will send out, well, no, not admissions, financial aid, thank you, Kate. Financial aid will send out an email, pretty much asking students, they sent out an email recently asking students to sign up for the student trainee program thing, where essentially what happens is they will email you directly whenever job postings come up. It was sent to, I think, everyone in the last couple of weeks. I think the deadline was last week, Wednesday, to sign up for that. And so yeah, then you'll get notice of all the jobs that are available. They were, in that specific email, they're talking about some summer jobs if you're gonna be around in the summer. So I hope you guys did, put your emails in if you're gonna be around. It's a little extra money. It's not too much, but
it's a great experience too. I mean, you can put it on your CV, and it always helps.
Exactly. So
And some of them don't pay money, but they definitely save you money. I'm a res grad right now, and I don't have to pay housing. So there are also positions if anyone's a resident student who wants to be a res grad. Those open up this summer for the next, as long as it takes you to graduate. So
all right,
so
well,
keep that in mind.
Thank you guys to Tenda. High production value on that piece. And now whoever's doing AUR life next week has some big shoes to fill. But right now, let's pass it on down to the end of the table for news with Dawson.
All right, so with the school and graduation theme, I found some videos that the first one kind of pissed me off. We'll just have to watch it. Let's roll.
You all, our students, to know that we've changed that practice, and we also want each one of you to know that we celebrate you, your graduation, and your accomplishments.
So the man who was roughing up the students to push them off the stage because they were celebrating just got a warning. He wasn't suspended, he wasn't fired. He actually got to hold his job, and that received a fiery response from the UF campus. And did anyone else find that disturbing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, what is that?
You're trying, it's a huge accomplishment. So I'm sure some of these students might be the first in their family to graduate from college.
Well, it's just super disrespectful.
Yeah, and I mean, regardless of if they changed the policy or not, he did ruin those people's graduation days.
It was probably one of the most important days of their lives, and they just got shoved off stage.
Yeah.
Like, literally, like, manhandled off stage. Like, it wasn't like oh, okay, like, come on, you're taking a little long. It was like he put two hands on them and like threw them across the stage. That was actually like absurd.
Yeah.
Borderline.
Yeah, no, for some of those students, like, that was really hands-on. I was like, whoa.
When was this?
I think this was in 2018 or 2017, and if you noticed, it was mostly the African American students too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say that, but I was like, I didn't want to bring it up, but yeah, I definitely
Yeah.
noticed that too.
And so
annoying.
And the fact that nothing happened to the guys just
You only got a
ticked me off.
warning.
You just got a warning. That was it. And as you saw at the end of the video, the dean came out and said something about it. But just because you said something's changed, no one was held accountable for their actions.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's the issue.
Usually professors get away with a lot of stuff in university. It's so
It's all about the tenure.
Well, it's also just like you just paid you just paid all this money to get a degree to graduate, and then like as you're celebrating, the school is like you've given so much to them, and as you're graduating, they're like, all right, get off the stage, like hurry up, like you're done, like.
And chances are you're in deep debt.
Chances are also some of the professors half the time didn't show up or didn't actually teach the class, or like
Here we go.
more presentations. You know, I deserve to walk however long I want in the stage.
Yeah, let them have their moment. They worked hard to get there.
Mm-hmm. So the second video is from Parkland High School. Is the graduation the year after the shooting.
Today you're graduating from high school. You should feel incredibly proud of yourselves. But that doesn't mean you should rest on your laurels. Or your yannies. Some of you will grow up to hear yanni, some of you will grow up to hear laurel, but the most important thing to know is that neither of these things will matter by the end of the summer. Here's what will matter. You, the class of 2018, will have graduated. And you won't be classmates anymore. You'll be adults who Facebook search each other at 2 in the morning for the next 10 years.
Nothing is impossible. The word itself says I'm possible.
All of our dreams can come true as long as we have the courage to pursue them. Take it one day at a time and enjoy the journey.
Alright, so basically in that video, there was no media allowed inside, and what happened, there were 4 seniors who were shot in the shooting, so they left 4 empty seats where their names would be in the seating chart, and a lot of their friends designed their graduation caps as memorials to the students who were killed. And I think what just happened is one of those students who graduated just killed herself.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
she got survivor's guilt.
Yeah, PTSD basically from what happened, so and she couldn't handle her life anymore. So that's extremely sad. And so what they did at this graduation was basically a silent protest to lawmakers and the government to say you need to do something about it, because I mean till this day nothing's really happened.
Yeah, it's pathetic.
So it's absolutely disgusting.
But that's the news in the graduation world.
Thank you, Dawson. Yeah, that was
intense, but needed to be talked about.
Intense, but I couldn't have said it better myself, Talia. That intense, but really needed to be talked about. Now we're gonna switch things up with I believe Disha is next.
Yeah.
Disha, go ahead.
Yeah, so we're gonna play a little game. It's called Defend Your Degrees. You're gonna each have like 30 seconds to like talk about your degree and what you think it's like going to help you the most and maybe even make you the most money after you graduate. And then we're gonna have like a little debate and like if somebody disagrees or anything like that.
Oh no.
Oh boy.
I hope you guys all.
I just want to say I go to a fashion school. Be nice to me.
So do you want to start, Isaac?
Okay. I would argue that film and digital media is basically where a lot of things are going. If we look at like the media that we consume on a regular basis, it's mostly visual and mostly like things like TV shows or movies or even advertisements are just short films these days. With the film and digital media degree, I think that even if I don't get a job in like Hollywood or like making like and producing a film, it would be very useful in terms of like having a basic idea of how to get something done like that is good for even a supervisor's position.
Yeah,
if you are in a position where you have to hire someone who is going to be a professional film producer for your company or for a organization that you work for, if you have a general idea of how that works, you can be a very suitable producer or supervisor for that.
Yeah.
And also, companies and like business organizations, they really appreciate creative arts and people who think a little differently than.
Especially in today's day.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think film and digital media very useful in that sense. Even if you're not going to go directly into like the film industry, very useful.
Alright, so I'll defend it going straight into the film industry because
Wait,
just like
how long do we have to defend our degrees?
30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Alright, so let's go.
Gabe's like, I know what I'm gonna say.
I'm in business today.
Alright, Johnny. Alright, so if you do want to dive straight into like the film industry, I'm a film and digital media major and I'm sort of trying to focus in on screenwriting and production so that I can get a master's in that. The unions in Hollywood are so strong that once you get a job, you are like set, and they have like salary floors of $90,000 for the Writers Guild of America, which is the one I want to be would like to join. So like it's hard to break into, except once you do break into it, there's a lot of reward on the other side, and you get to do something creative that you love. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, so my major is advertising and marketing communications.
It's a good one.
Yeah, so it's basically like it blends like business and communications, which is very useful. Like I go to FIT, so they teach also a lot about branding, which I think is something very pivotal that any business needs. Because if you really want to be known, your brand has to be very strong. Also, they talk a lot about social media. That's where everything is going. So, it's definitely, I have a minor in film, so also I could talk about film, but, we've already talked about it enough. But definitely I would say the biggest thing about my degree is branding and social media. So,
yeah. And I am a travel and tourism management major, and I would say it's the fastest growing industry currently. It supports so many different jobs from hospitality. It's such a broad range that you're able to be flexible, and either if you want to work in management, hospitality, services, industry, it's all so interesting and flexible and great for a person like me who I mentioned before. I'm interested in entrepreneurial route. Yeah.
So my majors everyone has no idea what the person's gonna do with, and always looks really shocked when they say that's a major. So I'm a philosophy major. It seems like super irrelevant and just very vague, but I think it really is really holistic, and it teaches people to be critical thinkers, and you can go into many job fields. I'm a pre-law, so I hope to go to law school and be a lawyer, but people go into all different kinds of things, so I think it's really helpful.
I'm an FDM major as well from digital media.
Nice.
Right, so I don't want to repeat everything that everyone else has said, but essentially film and digital media is the means of communication, right? Every industry is going to need that. No matter what you're doing, you still need to get your message, what you're doing, why it's beneficial out, even if it's propaganda. And yes, I'm open to hiring anyone who wants to do propaganda.
So I'm a business administration major, and the thing that I like the most about my major is the fact that it teaches everything from soft skills to very, very, very practical skills. So I can work in anywhere from an HR office to an accounting office, and there are tons and tons of opportunities for business students. It forces you to be a left brain, right brain thinker, so you aren't just creative and you aren't just analytical, but you can do both. And it really makes it so that when you go to look for different, maybe say, degree afterwards, like a higher level degree, then you can kind of specialize in anything.
Yeah. So personally, I am an English reading, writing, and literature major, and I have minors in communication and digital media. And I think in this day and age, creative thinking, creative writing, and anything to do with communication, it's like you can go into literally any field, especially things in advertising. So, yeah. So.
All right. So, anyone wanna
debate?
Before you guys start debating, I just want to like add one little thing. I think everyone has something they're good at, and I mean like that's like what you got to do with your life. You know, no matter what, like how it is, like, oh well, I'm gonna make more money this way. It's important to do what you enjoy. Also, I'm a big promoter of that because I think if you wake up every day and you're making a bunch of money, but you're not, you know, like somewhat happy to go to work, like what kind of life is that?
Yeah. All right.
Well, adding perspective.
Yes, and thank you, Disha, for the fun little game. And now let's start to Alexa. She has a video. She reviewed a cafe.
Yes,
correct.
I reviewed X Circus. It's a cafe near Campo de Fiori. I don't know if you guys have ever been to it, but let's play it.
Today I'm going to be spotlighting X Circus. It's a great cafe in Rome to do work to prepare for your future.
Walking through, you can tell that X Circus has a really great and laid-back atmosphere with a lot of different types of seating that makes it great for all different types of studiers. My personal favorite is actually the couches way at the back. It makes it great to lay out all of my stuff on that big table so I can really focus. And here I'm studying for my LSATs, which is for my future, preparing for law school, which will be great. Another great thing about here is their extensive menu, they have things like smoothie bowls, juices, coffees, sandwiches, salads, and even baked goods, which makes it a great place for long study days when you really have to snack. Today I decided to get the avocado, tomato, and goat cheese sandwich. It's really great and tasty. The atmosphere is really relaxing and conducive to all types of studiers. I'm really able to focus without any distractions, and there are many options for what to eat and drink, which I love. The thing that really makes this coffee shop the best in Rome is the amazing playlists they have on in the background. I always like to study with music. Whereas I really would say X Circus is definitely a must for anyone looking for a quiet place to study and plan for their future.
All right, well, thank you. Do you have anything else to add about the cafe?
Yeah. So, well, first, I don't know if you could tell, but I got caught in a rainstorm.
Yeah.
Always fun.
Yeah, it was
weekend,
really
yeah.
disgusting, but I actually think it made me like the cafe more because I was all wet and gross and cold, and the cafe has really like homey vibes, and I really like to relax there, and I really like to study because you can like spread out. I like to spread all my books like all over so I can see everything, so it's really nice. I know Kyla's been there before.
Yeah, I have. And it's a really good study place, and not a lot of places in Rome lets you just sit down and use your Wi-Fi and just hone on it. So this is one of my favorite places to go to. And then one time I did go, they were playing live music. And I don't know about you, I love live music, so I'm just like +1.
Yeah, they also have a really great playlist that's like playing in the background. It's quiet enough that you can focus. It's really nice. They also have a lot of smoothies and smoothie bowls, which is not something Rome has.
I haven't had a smoothie since I got here.
It itself is like bomb. Yeah, it's really energizing and great. So I really would recommend it for studying and looking up. I was studying for the LSAT, so it was good to prepare for life.
Go you, girl.
I've heard a lot about the cafe actually. A lot of people have recommended it to me. So.
It's only got like a 20-minute walk from here, so
it's
yeah.
Nice.
Not bad.
Do you happen to know maybe like how this place came to be? Like, because like you said, there's not a lot of places in Rome that would let you just sit down and use your Wi-Fi and study. Was the like owner like a student or something? Like,
I couldn't tell you, but I think it's newer, and you can definitely tell that the setup is like very more modern. Like everyone is literally sitting and doing work on their computers. Something you see more in America, so I think it's just a newer idea, and I'm surprised it's actually doing well because no coffee shop here allows that, so I didn't expect it to do well, but it seems like it's doing good.
I'll have to go check it out. Sounds really cool.
Thank you for that in-depth review of that. We're gonna have to move on to Gabriel. You had a top 5.
Yeah, I have them all written down on my phone here, so that's what I'm looking at. So I'm going to name the top 5, kind of give a rundown on the top 5 places to look for a job after graduation. So my number 1 that I said was the University Career Center, because most career centers, I mean, AOR is a little bit different in the sense because it's still new and developing, but they have a lot of connections with businesses and organizations after that they will feed their students into, which is really, really good. Like I said, AOR is more focused on internships and development pre-career right now, but I think they'll definitely move in that direction in the future. So I think it's a really good asset to have is your own career center at your university. Then there's also Glassdoor.com. Glassdoor.com is a website that basically, it doesn't only show open jobs internationally, but it also shows, base salaries, where you sit in the market. It has information on customer satisfaction and also employee satisfaction based on jobs, so you can really get a lot of in-depth information on companies before you even send an application to go there. And then there's Indeed.com, which has similar...
The best.
It has similar things, but I think the difference between Indeed.com and Glassdoor is more long-term and career-oriented, whereas Indeed has a lot of jobs, and there's a difference between a job and a career.
Part-time?
Yeah, well, I just think
they have everything.
Like Wendy's doesn't post that they have jobs available on Glassdoor or on LinkedIn, but they post it on Indeed. So it just depends on what you're looking for, I guess. In Europe, it's a little bit different than it is in the United States. I find it better in Europe, but I've lived my entire adult life here, so I don't really know very much about the United States. I just got a job on Wednesday, literally through Indeed, so that's all I can say. Then we have the Idea List, and the Idea List is specifically for careers, I think, and also internships in the nonprofit sector. So there aren't a lot of private companies here, but there are a ton of like UN agencies and different nonprofits that are here. So if that's what you're looking into, that would be a good place to go. I want to study food studies and sustainability in the future, so that's really, really important to me. So I'm always on the Idea List. And then there's also LinkedIn.com. LinkedIn is the mainstream get a job, connect, build networks for everything, but it will not work for you if you're not already using it in university. Because if you sign up for LinkedIn to look for a job as a not rising senior, I guess I can say, you're not using it to the best of its abilities, and you're definitely not going to go anywhere with it. One of the things that lots of professors have recommended to me is to build that throughout university, and then as soon as you graduate, sign up for the free month of premium, send out a bunch of connections if you can, and then and try and get something back from that. I would also say that this kind of is more towards business, marketing, and the communication/creative industry. I don't find this to be a place that has small jobs posted there. Like I said before, like a job at Wendy's or a server at Starbucks, you probably won't find that on LinkedIn.com. But LinkedIn is. Has anyone else used LinkedIn? And
Yeah, I do
Yeah,
a business class.
I love
My dad
LinkedIn.
uses
It's actually my social media of choice. I'm not kidding.
I took a business class in high school and we all were forced to make a LinkedIn, so I've had one for like a couple of years now.
Have you updated it?
I have.
Well, nice.
Good. Yeah, it's important that you have an updated picture, an updated bio in third person, not in first person. And you have all of your work experience up there as much as you can. If you have any projects or anything, you can also upload links and documents. If you have a big, maybe marketing project or something that you got a really high grade on, you did well on, then upload that. That's good to add to your portfolio. Many businesses are also just requesting LinkedIn links instead of actual resumes and stuff. So it's interesting. It's the world's changing, and the more and more we do things, if they go online, and LinkedIn and along with these other websites are examples of that. So
I have a question. So for things like Glassdoor and Indeed, are they also for Europe, or is it only?
Yeah, they do have things in Europe. Yep.
Okay, nice.
I actually met someone when I was in the Capelline Museum, and he had his own production company. It was like back in the States, but he was just visiting. He's like,
where?
I think he's based in California.
I'll go there.
Yeah.
All right.
He
Talia, you need a roommate this summer?
She was like, oh, you're American, right? Like, he heard me speak English to somebody. I was like, oh, no, I'm actually South Korean. Oh, okay. What are you doing here? No. And then we had a very short like discussion of like, you know, what I'm doing here, what he's doing here. And then you know, we started talking about film because I'm in film. And oh, great, yeah. You know, give me your LinkedIn. And like, I've noticed that's kind of a thing now. You know, like,
I work in a pub, and it's the same thing. There's sometimes you'll get talking to people, and because I'm a busboy at the pub, and sometimes someone will come up to me and I'll ask, where are you from? What are you doing here? And they tell me, and then they're like, hey, can I be on
yeah.
You can. Like, so you have to make sure it's always
helpful.
updated.
Yeah.
It is.
In terms of like, even in a non-professional environment, like you
Exactly,
meet someone,
yeah,
that's just networking. It really helps that. So
communication is key, man.
Yeah. Thank you, Gabriel. That was very. I'm sure that was very helpful for many students, not just freshmen, but like, you know, people who are have been in university for a while, you know, about to leave. I know thinking about these things, like about the future in general, is very difficult. It's a kind of something that frightens us. But I think that it's something that, you know, we really need to start thinking about. You know, it's something that's kind of hard, but it will help you in the long run if you start thinking about it early.
Yeah. It's definitely daunting, though.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
Also remember to do your stuff, but you know, have a good time sometimes doing it. You know, you don't want to look back in college and be like, all I did was sat in a library and studied. I'm sorry, I'm really about like enjoying life, and I know I keep interjecting like that, but like
California.
there you go. But so I agree, get your shit together, but also like don't just do that.
Yes. I have a quick question.
Yep.
So I know this is gonna take us back a couple of minutes, but the game, who won? Are we letting the
I thought Talia just really, you know, brought us together by saying we're all important and we're all trying to, you know, make sense out of this big, beautiful world.
Okay, sure. So for my sake, whoever is watching this, just comment down below. Let us know which degree you thought was.
My mom will don't worry, Contender, my mom will let you know what you think.
After this is uploaded, to just see you comment that you won.
That's okay. It counts. It counts. He didn't exempt himself from vote. Yeah, it counts.
I mean, you know, I support you. We're the same age. So, yeah. All right. Well, that concludes this episode. I think I'm gonna go make a LinkedIn.
I'm gonna go update mine right now again.
Add us all. More connections.
Alright, well, thank you everyone. Hopefully, you know, everyone listening to this episode and watching this episode actually, it really helped everyone think about their future and where they want to go. And thank you everyone for participating and great job everyone.
Yeah, so this concludes our very first video cast of CariniCast. We hope you tune in next week too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.